is Francisco Santos, and I'm the profile coordinator of the Financial Economics major, and I'm here to present it. The first thing I want to tell you is that the FIE profile is the most popular profile at NHH. Around 40% of the students take it as their major, and this number has actually been increasing over the recent years. But I don't want you to take the profile because everyone else is taking the profile. I want you to understand why this profile is so popular. And I think there are three main reasons for it. The first one, it's an interesting and exciting topic because, as you know, the world is changing all the time. And the world changes, the financial markets and financial decisions associated with change. So there's always new things to be learned. The second reason for why the major is so popular, it's a well-structured program major, and you have a lot of courses focusing on very different subjects. So if you want, you can specialize in one subject, but you can also be exposed to a multitude of different topics. And the third reason, I think the most important of all, is the strong job prospects that this profile allows you to have. FIE is a brand name out there, so the market knows the quality of the students that we have every year. And most of our students have a job offer well before they graduate. So in terms of job offers, what do we have to offer? So there's a wide range of career opportunities that are available to you once you finish the 2 years of this major. You can have careers in the financial services, and by that I mean in banks, in insurance companies, in private equity, in merger advisory, in asset management, in mutual funds. The list goes on and on. But you're not stuck only with financial service. You can also go into consulting. The way you'll be trained in this program will make you very useful for consulting firms. A third option will be to go to management. You can go out from this major and be able to make decisions at the corporate level. So all these career opportunities, why do you have access to them? And I think that's because of the skills that you learn while you go over all the courses of this major. And those skills are, for example, you'll be able to perform investments analysis and valuation. You'll be able to evaluate performance, portfolio management strategies. You'll be able to make corporate decisions, take into account the diverse trade-offs and all the risk considerations. You'll understand while you take the FIE profile, the risk-return trade-off, the most important thing in finance, that with high expected return usually comes high risk. So you'll be able to take into account risk and manage that risk so that you make informed and good decisions wherever the setting you are. So now that I introduced you to the profile, I just want to talk a little bit more about the basic structure of it. And the structure is as follows. You'll have to take 6 courses within the FIE major. 3 of those will be mandatory and 3 will be elective. After taking these 6 FIE courses, you'll have to take 3 more, which are either electives, or you take a minor, or you take a semester abroad. 3 courses in the total of 12 that you have to take have to be outside of FIE. One more requirement is a minimum of 2.5 credits have to be fulfilled in an ethics requirement. In the end, you'll also have to perform a thesis. So what are the mandatory courses? So we have 2 core courses that will give you the basic tools and the basic understanding of what is finance. And those 2 courses are FIE 400, we have an English version and we have a Norwegian version. So this is the investments course. The second mandatory course is FIE 402, corporate finance. So those are the 2 core courses. On top of these 2 core courses, which are mandatory, you have a third mandatory course, which is an empirical methods course. But for that one, you have a choice. You can either take FIE 1, financial econometrics, or ECO 402, econometric techniques. These 2 courses are basically going after the same techniques, after the same skills in econometrics. However, the FIE 401 has a little bit more application to financial aspects and in econometrics. So if I were you, I would just try both of them in the first couple of weeks and see which ones you prefer. So these are the mandatory courses in the FIE profile. I'll go to the electives in just a second. I just want to refer to the ethics. In terms of ethics, we have 2.5 credits requirement. You can take any of the ethics courses that are approved by the school. That being said, there's also an ethics course being given as a FIE elective, and that's FIE 459, Sustainable Finance. This is a topic that is very hot these days, and there's a reason for it to be very hot. So it's an interesting finance course, but it's also a course that allows you to fulfill the ethics requirements. So by taking this course, you pretty much get a 2-for-1. You get elective credits, but you also get the ethics requirement fulfilled. In terms of electives, things get a little bit more complex because, as you will see in just a second, we offer a lot of courses. So for you as a student, you have to think, do you want to specialize in one area? Do you want to have a broad knowledge of finance and taking courses from very different topics? Do you want to prepare yourself for a PhD and want to take more advanced courses? When it comes to electives, it's more up to you. What do you want from the major such that you're prepared from what's coming next? The good news for you is no matter what you're looking for, it's very, very likely that the major is able to provide you that experience. So in this slide over here, I show you a list of all the courses in FIE. And when I say all, I'm actually not being 100% honest because courses are being added as things change. As the world changes, we see there's a need for some courses that dabble on some other issues. So this list, as you can see now, it changes over time. But as you can see, it's a long list. So it's difficult for you to choose which of these courses should I take. So to help you, we developed what we call profile tracks. So we try to make the profile, which is very large, give you a little bit of more guidance on what you should go for. So we have 3 tracks. We have corporate finance track, we have capital markets track, and we have a quantitative finance and fintech track. So what is a corporate finance? So corporate finance track is a track for you that are pursuing a career in investment banking, in M&A advisory, in security analysis, in commercial banking, in private equity, in management consulting, in corporate positions. So if that's what you think you're going to do after these 2 years in college, that's the track for you. However, that's not the only track that you can go for. You can go for the capital markets. And this is a track that prepares students for careers in portfolio management, in risk management, in treasury functions, security sales and trading, on asset management. For example, if you watch the Big Short movie and you were in love with it, then the capital markets track is probably the track for you. The last track is quantitative finance and fintech. So these are for students that are pursuing a career as specialists in quantitative-oriented areas such as asset management, risk management, and financial product development, as well as financial regulations. As you know, things are changing very fast these days. Regulations in banks are pushing banks to a different way of doing business these days. So we need to have our students understand that. So that's why this track is constantly evolving so that we can keep up with the changes in the world. Because what we want is after 2 years, when you go into the job market, I want you to have an advantage compared to our competitors. So that's why our profile is not a static one. We constantly change it to make it better so that you have an advantage when you go outside. So I told you about these corporate tracks. Here in these slides, I just have a list of courses within each track. So I have the list of courses within corporate finance, within capital markets. By the way, within the capital markets, for those of you that took economics in your bachelor's and you really like the macro stuff, as you can see from this list, we have a lot of macro courses applied to capital markets. So if that's an area that you like, FIE still can provide this for you. Here are the list of quantitative finance and fintech. So these are all the courses that we have. And if you look closely to these slides, you'll see that some of the courses are in 2 different tracks. And why is that? It's because some of them focus on aspects that are more related to corporate, but other topics are also related to capital markets. So one course doesn't have only one home. It can be in different tracks. Just to make very, very clear about tracks, there is no formal requirement for you to take a track. So the FIE profile allows you flexibility. So if you want to know a little bit of M&A, if you want to know a little bit of asset management, if you want to know a little bit of macro finance, you can do that. You are able to choose a course from different tracks. However, if you want to specialize, you can also do that. And if you do that, there is no formal requirement on how many courses you should take in that track, but I would personally recommend you to take a minimum of 3 electives. So if you go for capital markets, the minimum that I would say that will allow you to say that you're specialized in capital markets would be 3 electives. These electives is something that probably you're not considering at this point. So to help you in terms of how should you schedule your coursework, I'm presenting here my suggestion, and just take it as it is, as a suggestion. So in my first semester, what I would do is I would take all the mandatory courses. So I would take the investments course, the FIE 400, either the English or Norwegian version. I would take the corporate finance course, FIE 02. So those are two mandatories. And those, I think it's really important for you to take in the first semester because most of the electives that we have prerequisites. And their prerequisites are either investments or corporate finance. So the later you take these courses, the later you'll have to take some of the electives that need these courses as a background. So if you're going for this profile, take these two in the first semester, in the fall. A third course that I also recommend you to take in the fall will be the Empirical Methods course. So either take FIE 401, the Financial Econometrics, or ECO 402, the Econometric Techniques. By doing these three courses, all the mandatory courses of the profile, they are done. And then you'll have full flexibility to choose what electives you want. In your first semester in the fall, I'll recommend these three, and then you have more flexibility in terms of the fourth one. I'm just suggesting that it might be a good idea to go for sustainable finance. This is a course that is only offered in the fall, so if you don't take it this time, you have to wait 1 year to take it. And the benefit of doing this is, first, it's an interesting course. It's a course that fulfills your ethics requirement. So it's a course that you get a lot for what you're taking. So it's not an obligation. I think the other three are more recommended than this one, but still, by doing this, you get FIE credits and you also get your ethics requirement. As you go along in your second and third semester, that's where you take your electives, and that's where you can also consider taking a minor or going for a semester abroad. The fourth semester is usually dedicated to the thesis. So, what topics do we cover in finance? Well, as you can imagine from the list of courses, there's a ton of topics covered in financial economics. Here in this slide, I just have a couple of examples. So one thing that you can focus on financial economics is, for example, the oil fund. Here I have a link, and when you click on this link, you see how the fund is doing in real time. Is it making money? Is it losing money? The performance of the oil fund, what they're doing, is something that you can learn in one of our courses at the major. Moreover, you know that this is very important, and you know that oil prices are changing constantly. We know that the stock market has been affected severely during this COVID crisis. So what do you think? Is the oil fund losing, is making money? Well, you might think that it's losing a lot of money given that the stock market is going down. But on the other side, the Norwegian krone has been devaluing quite substantially these last months. So you have stock markets going down, but all your investments in dollars are going up. And as you can see by clicking on this link, you'll see that oil fund actually is not losing that much. So if you're interested in stuff like that, you'll be able to learn in one of the courses, or actually in more than one of the courses that we offer in the FIE profile. Another topic that is covered in FIE is, for example, M&A. We have a course exclusively dedicated to M&A deals. It's a very interesting course. It's a demanding course, but it's a course where you actually go into real examples. For example, here in this link, I have the example of the Disney-Fox merger deal. And that's stuff that you're going to do in this course. You take data that is available and you analyze the deal. Actually, in the end of this course, you'll have actually to pick a deal, you have to study the deal, and you have to come up with a price, you have to come up on a way to structure the deal. And you'll present this not only to the faculty, but also to the industry. And the feedback that we've had from students and from the industry has been fantastic. So although it's a demanding course, it's super, super exciting and interesting to have. Another topic that will be covered for sure in the FIE major is the financial crisis. Here I just have a very short link of an interview with Michael Burry. This, if you watch the Big Short movie, this is the character played by Christian Bale, where he talks about his experience of managing his hedge fund during the financial crisis. One of the topics that most likely will be discussed in the following years will be the impact of COVID crisis in finance, in financial markets. Here I have 4 examples of statements of people about the impact of the COVID in financial markets. I have Warren Buffett saying what he thinks about the impact, especially in airlines. As you know, airlines have been grounded. There are no flights, so their stock market performance has been very, very bad. There's been talks about how can we save the airline industry. A lot of people have been going to unemployment. A lot of small business are are in risk of going bankrupt. So what can central banks do to help this? What can regulators do to help bankruptcy problems? So this will all be topics that you can learn by taking some of our financial economics majors courses. And as I said, this is just a drop on the ocean of topics in finance that you can study in our major. As almost a concluding remark, I just wanted to present two former FIE students. One is Ingvar Slingstad. So he's the departing CEO of the oil fund. He took the FIE profile many years ago at NHH. And 2013, 2014, he was considered by Forbes the number 70 and number 72 most powerful person in the world. I'm not saying that by taking FIE, you will be on this list anytime soon, but it might be that it helped a little bit. Another person, a famous person that took also the FIE profile is Sivan Stoller, the owner of the Pareto Group. His wealth last year by Forbes was around $1.2 billion. Again, I'm not saying that if you take the FIE profile, you get to this amount of wealth, but it will be nice to think that you'll be able to do so. To conclude, if you already decided to take the FIE as your major, I hope this video hasn't convinced otherwise. And if you have decided, welcome. I think you'll have a lot of fun during the next 2 years. You'll be challenged, you'll learn a lot, and you'll be in a very good position to do very well after you leave NHH. If you're still in doubt if the FIE profile is the right one for you, I would say give it a try. Go for the mandatory courses, investments, corporate, see if this is the stuff for you or not. If it is, then great. You already fulfilled the mandatory courses and you're ready to take electives. If it's not, you still have time to change. Realize that your choice of major right now is not set in stone. You can always change for a different major as you go along. And by taking 2 FIE courses in the beginning, well, if you don't go as a major, you almost already got a minor in finance. So the risk even there, it's low. If you already decided finance is not for me, first of all, I just want to thank you to survive till this point of the video. And I will still say one thing. I don't want you to be convinced to go to FIE, but I still want you to think that maybe taking a couple of courses in FIE might be useful. If you're going to strategy, if you're going for marketing, having basic understanding of financial setting and financial decision making, it's important for you. Even in your personal life, knowing the basics of finance will be very helpful for you. So consider even then taking a couple of courses in the FIE profile. If you have any questions, don't hesitate and contact me. You have here my email. So best of luck in your decision, and I hope to see you next year in the FIE profile.